Oh, welcome to the Cigar Professor. And as if today could have been any more infuriating. Look, I'm not going to bore you with the details of my life. All I'm going to say is welcome to the Cigar Professor. I'm sorry that I'm about 2 minutes late. Technical troubles right at the very last second. You know, those days where like you get there at the very last minute and you're like, it'll be okay because it's always okay. And then it's not okay. And then there's technical trouble to overcome. And then you have to, yeah. And that was on top. Look, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Listen, my name's Topher Field. If you haven't watched the Cigar Professor before, I'm known as Professor Topher, and I have absolutely nothing to hide. Yeah, nothing whatsoever. There's nothing unusual or out of the ordinary. There is absolutely nothing to hide this week, I promise you. We are enjoying the Undercrown shade Connecticut Corona Pequena, which is a contender for the longest and most convoluted name of a cigar on earth, except it isn't, because cigars really do often get very long, ridiculous names. But I think the best person to tell us about this cigar is the person who tracked it down for us. I've been a fan of the Undercrown brand ever since Professor Damo introduced me to it. He's actually the one that personally introduced me to it in a much smaller vitola. They came like 5 to a tin. There were these tins that you could open. Professor Damo introduced me to those, and I think he's going to be the best person to tell us all about today's cigar. Professor Damo, how are you?
Oh, I'm tired too. I spent 6-7 hours driving a truck today, so
6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, and then I actually had to load the truck myself when I got to where I had to get up as well. So
when you say truck, do you mean the Hilux that's parked behind you, or do you mean something else?
Something a bit bigger, 4-pallet truck.
So why was this like fireworks related, or are you just like
Australia Day tomorrow
now, or?
Yep, Australia Day tomorrow, and
you've got an Australia Day gig. Fantastic.
Kind of. I'm being subbied. So
okay, all right. So it's not as good as if it was your own.
Yeah, not my own, but at least I'm working. And then the same company subbied me to do the races at Eastern Creek on Saturday as well.
Oh, nice. So, okay, look, that actually really genuinely makes me happy. I'm very, 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 very glad to hear that you're actually working. Stuart, good to see you. He's in Harcourt. Why would any self-respecting human being go to Harcourt? I don't. I'm confused. And speaking of non-self-respecting human beings, Omar, how are you?
James, Topher, how are you, boys?
I'm good.
All right. So Stuart says he's dropping off the kids. Yeah, that makes sense. Daniel says, "Hey guys, Daniel, good to see you as always." Omar, you got to tell me more about this tapestry behind you. These two geese flying in front of the moon. Like, we see it now every week. It used to be the cigar boxes. Now it's this tapestry. What's the deal, man? What is this thing?
Some shit that my wife got it, so I got to deal with it. I'm almost inside the house, so I can't complain. I can't change the aesthetics of it. So
yeah, you just got to live with what you got. Look, people might wonder why I'm talking about tapestries and like backdrops and stuff. Look, I promise you, I assure you, I have absolutely nothing to hide. Damo, why don't you tell us about today's cigar of the week?
Well, as you said, Drew Estate, Undercrown series have been around for a little while, both the Maduro and the Shade, but it was 2020, I think it was, in one of their tobacco trade shows in America. They released this particular vitola. Now, it's ticks all the boxes for us. It has an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper. We like Connecticut. We like Ecuadorian, so it's good. To tickle Omar's fancy, it's Sumatra binder.
Ooh,
and the filler is both Dominican and Nicaraguan.
Wow.
So,
wow.
A little travel around the world in this one cigar.
Yep. Very good. Now, I said before, you introduced me to this in quite a small vitola. I think it was 5 to a tin. And I bought a couple of tins off you with the idea that was going to last me a couple of months, because I had these delusions back then that I was only going to smoke one cigar every fortnight or so. And I'm pretty sure I ran out in about 2 weeks flat. This is just such a smokable. I mean, I did an impersonation of Omar.
Should have bought the box of 32 instead.
Yeah, I should have. Yep, absolutely. No, these are such an easy smoke. We talk about smokes that you would reach for. this is one of those ones that you would reach for under almost any circumstances. There is really no circumstance where you wouldn't open your humidor. The only reason you would open your humidor and go for something different to this one tonight is if you knew you had 2 hours and you just wanted something that was just going to fill the time.
Or you felt like something darker or...
Yeah, something strong. Something's going to really blow your
yeah.
head off. That's the only reason why you would do something different to our cigar tonight. All right. Well, so you've got your cigars. You've got your wonderful Undercrown Shade Connecticut Corona Pequenas. I've got mine tonight. So, guys, are you going to be just like V cutting or straight cutting, or what are you thinking of doing with your cigar tonight?
Do you know what we are thinking of doing?
What are you thinking of doing?
This. Fuck. Don't need it. He comes in freaking late. He's got our problems. What the heck?
Omar, what happened to you? You were actually funny. You actually did something funny. What's happening? What's going on, man? Look, for those of you that are really eagle-eyed, like it's not obvious. It's very subtle. But for those of you that are really eagle-eyed among you, you may have noticed that my cigar is a slightly different color to Omar's and to Damo's. And look, I've just got to come clean. You remember about 3 weeks ago, I was on the show and I was really, really hammered, right? And I needed to be. There was a good reason why I was. And it did me a world of good, actually. I was quite... Normally, you get really hammered. You're like, this is a really bad idea. Actually, it was a really good idea. I've been in a much better place ever since. It was just a beautiful, like, release valve, pressure valve for me. But that aside, we were smoking the Nub Connecticut that night. And I don't want to say that I was so hammered that I couldn't tell one cigar from another, but... all I'm going to say is that when I thought I was smoking the Nub Connecticut, I was actually smoking the Undercrown Shade Connecticut Corona Pequena. Yeah, it's a little awkward. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little awkward. Yeah. And so then I thought, right, okay, I'll just get one of these from my private collection because I have a humidor. And I went and I opened it up, and I've got one cigar left. I'm out of cigars, and so
I didn't know you were coming down with Omaritis.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I'm not going to lie. Tonight's review from me is not only is it going to be about the KO Flathead Camshaft, a cigar I've never had before, although I do love the KO Flathead series. It's also going to be a review on my local tobacco shop because I actually had to stoop to walking in to my local tobacco shop and saying, what cigars have you got? Because otherwise I was going to be empty-handed tonight because the one cigar that I have left is a cigar that I have committed to smoking only when Nicolas Maduro, the dictator of Venezuela, finally loses power. So I couldn't touch that one. And now I'm left with this one. So, guys...
Does that mean you smoke the rest of the pack as well?
No. I'm keeping the rest of the pack aside. No. Sorry. Those ones are excluded. Those are like...
Oh, okay.
Right?
I thought you might have been doing an Omar on me there.
No. Look, I wouldn't stoop
it's not a severe
that
case
low.
of Omaritis.
I wouldn't stoop that low. So Stuart's asking me the big questions here. What am I smoking on Saturday, or is it my shout? No. Because I smoked the wrong cigar when I should have been smoking the Nub Connecticut, I was actually smoking tonight's cigar. As a result, I've actually got a Nub Connecticut sitting there. And instead of pulling it out tonight, because I already said to you that I was going to bring it on Saturday because I got confused. I thought that was just sitting there and it was like mine to smoke. I will have that with me on Saturday. So don't you stress, Stuart. I will have my Nub Connecticut on Saturday. But look, all I'm saying, it's a long-winded introduction, I know. All I'm saying is that my tasting notes on this Undercrown Shade Connecticut Corona Pequena might be a little bit different to the other guys. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Well, Omar,
yes,
I'm getting pancake batter.
Wow. It's got a little cinnamon spice with that as well. Just a touch, very so gentle.
Yeah, it's slight cinnamon. It's almost got a milky note to it as well.
It's like a chai latte, almost.
I'm going to stick with my pancake batter.
You reckon? I'm going chai latte, mate.
No self-respecting man would admit to knowing what a chai latte tastes like.
Absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous opening.
Beautiful.
Really, really nice opening.
Oh, yeah.
That foot smoke's a bit floral as well.
Yeah.
Get a little touch up in there before it gets too
crazy.
Too crazy.
Yep.
Want to get this off on the right foot. Such a good cigar.
Yeah, man.
I've got my garage door open at the moment because the sun's up and it's a beautiful, beautiful night here in Melbourne. And some people just walk past. And I see this from time to time. They walk past and they look in and they're ready to say, like, hello, neighbor. How are you? You know, like Truman Show style. And then they see that you've got a cigar and they're like, and they look back to where they're going and keep on walking.
That's all right. Omar's already, what's the word? Cultured the local community into sitting out the front of his shop smoking cigars.
That's exactly it. We've all got to do it one at a time. One at a time. You know, I hate to say it, but at this point, it just seems like it's just Stuart and Daniel watching. Stuart, Daniel. I look through the comments. It's just Stuart, Daniel. Just the five of us hanging out. We might as well send them the link and get them on the show.
Why not? That foot smoke has almost got a rose note in it. A floral rose.
Honestly, I'm still sticking to the chai latte trend. It's got a bit of spice. It's got sweetness in it.
I'm not getting the tea, though.
Huh?
I'm not getting the tea. That's why I'm not.
What happens in mostly the powdered chai latte is you just got minimal, literally no
you
tea
drink shit.
anymore.
No, I don't drink shit. That's why.
That's what you have to. Oh, the guy who drinks Diet Coke.
Actually, I'm having a shrub tonight. Raspberry shrub.
And you don't. What did you say? You don't drink shit? You must be eating it.
Yeah. Look, you know where I stand on you two and your drink choices. I don't think either of you is any better than the other. So Omar hanging shit on Damo or Damo hanging shit on Omar, I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're both just shit. Wow. Your drink choices are terrible. Me, on the other hand, I've got some black tea.
Yeah, same. Black tea. Just black tea.
And I have a little bit of leftover Riesling.
Oh, nice.
So,
not the best pairing with a cigar, but, you know, whatever.
With honey?
Nah.
No.
No honey. Cream?
Nah.
My goodness. Are you sick?
Now I'm fasting, dude. I've been fasting. Yeah. So.
I got to tell you, I don't remember the Undercrown Shade Connecticut having this sort of molasses flavor. This really dark kind of burnt molasses flavor. I'm digging it. It's unexpected.
Ignore this comment, Damon. We're just going to ignore this comment. We're just going to pretend no one said anything.
It is sweet, but I think his taste buds are shot.
Back me up, Daniel. This is definitely like a burnt molasses, yeah?
Well, I don't think I'm smoking the same thing you are, so...
What? No,
I have noticed there are a few rings in it.
Yours looks a bit big, just a tad bigger than mine, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. Mine's bigger than most people's, but I don't advertise. Like, I don't brag about it. But okay, if you want to talk about that, then sure.
How you doing, Omar?
Good, Daniel. What's happening, bro?
Oh, not a lot. The tickets sold out for the Melbourne show, so I decided to come and visit you instead.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Daniel and Moore. This is headline news. Daniel and Moore is headed to Sydney.
Yeah.
To see Professor Damo and Omar. Notice I didn't put Professor in
when
front
you coming
of Omar.
up?
The 13th of Feb. So it's a Monday night for the Dr. Peter McCullough.
It'll be a good event, guys. Actually, honestly, get yourself along there. I've booked tickets for myself and for Edwina, my wife.
Sydney's sold out
Melbourne.
now. Apparently,
Melbourne's sold out.
Yeah, apparently they're trying to get more tickets available, but
I reckon they will because based on the email they sent when I bought tickets, they're only using 3 of the doors, and there's about 8 doors. If you use the entire stadium, there's about 8 doors that go around it, maybe 6, but there's a lot more than 3. That much I know. So I reckon they'll be able to expand the seating for Melbourne. But look, once your pay comes in on a Thursday, whatever it is, have a look, see whether they've managed to make more tickets available in Melbourne.
When's
I don't know if I can refund the other one. That's all.
Mm.
It'll definitely be a lot cheaper for me to go to Melbourne. So catch the train down there. I looked at the train timetable. I can't get a train up to Sydney in the right time. So
yeah, up to Sydney is ridiculous because that last 100 k's into Sydney is so slow.
Oh, well, I've got one. There's one train that would get me there like nearly first thing in the morning. I have to be on the train all night, and I'd be there waiting around in Sydney all day. Yeah, that's not really
brutal.
I'd have to get someone to pick me up.
If you hang around Omar all day, you could smoke cigars all day.
Yeah, except that Daniel would have to bring the cigars because Omar's not going to do that.
That's right.
True. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, the other one gets me there an hour after it starts. So
yeah, no, that's no good. That's no good.
Which means it's petrol money to get up there and back.
Yeah.
And your car's cool, but it ain't good on fuel. That's for sure.
On highway, it's about 8 litres per 100 k's.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
For a 6-cylinder, that's for a 6-cylinder. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, all right. I'll pay that. I mean, I drive a diesel, so my view on what's acceptable is kind of skewed because it's really good on the highway. But yeah, eight's not bad.
8's pretty good.
It's more like 9 or 10 around town, but I don't drive it much anymore because we got the 2 cars. So Sharon's running around with the kids in the other one. Mine only goes to work and back.
Yeah. Daniel.
Yeah.
Do you want a scoop? This isn't public. No one else knows this.
Yeah.
Literally, I've had one meeting which had a grand total of 13 people in it who are very specific people, each and every one of which is known to me. None of them could be classified as the public, right? They're the only people that I've told this to. Do you want the scoop?
Yeah.
All right. The scoop is that after 9 months of negotiation, I've secured funding to launch a new social media enterprise, which guarantees that we are moving to Albury.
That sounds really, really good.
We intend to
need it. So you'll need a studio built.
Well, we're going to probably build it in the garage under the house. There's a specific house that we're negotiating on.
Yeah. Is that the one that you showed me the floor plan for?
I don't remember. You
showed me one like a 3-tier garage, triple bay
garage under the house.
And it's got the building, the little room off it with the window.
Yeah,
be a studio room.
So it's basically got a built-in studio, 3-car garage under the house, and a nice little control room with a window into the garage. Yeah, that's the one we're negotiating on. Look, I don't know if we'll get it or not, but that's what we're negotiating on. Yeah. If we miss out on that, we'll look at others. But with the confirmation literally this morning that the funding is coming through for that, then the move to Albury is guaranteed.
That's awesome.
You know who I want to see you do a slow chat with?
Who's that?
Neil Oliver.
Yeah, right. Look, I'd love to get him. I don't know how to get him.
He just did one with John Campbell. That was pretty
well,
good.
that makes sense because they're both English and they've both got much bigger audiences than I do.
But I reckon your people should reach out to his people and.
Well, I have people these days, so I could get my people to reach out to his people and see what happens. Mm-hmm.
You know you've made it when you've got people.
Oh, when you got people, I'll tell my people to talk to your people, and then we'll tee something up. But balancing the feeling like you've actually made it in life and that you are somebody is the fact that you end up on a live stream with people like Stu. That really kind of brings you back down to earth really quickly. Like you think you've made it, and then Stu shows up. Like,
hey,
come on.
Hey, Stu.
Can't have bad luck sometimes. Yeah, good. Thanks. I've just been waiting. The ex took a little bit. Oh, now she's getting fuel because the kids don't know I have cigars. You see. So I've been waiting for them to go so I can get all this started, and now she's just pulled up at the servo across the road.
Listen, there's no point hiding it. My kids know I smoke cigars. They actually like chasing the smoke as it drifts away from me and the breeze. You got
But now I'm a hypocrite.
Jackson won't come out to the shed when I'm smoking cigars. Xavier sits there looking at it going, when can I have one? I said, when you're 18.
Exactly.
That's my point.
So, Stu, on Saturday, are you going to try and hide the cigars from the kids? Because it's not going to be possible.
No, so I figured my plan's going to be that I had a cigar each for those girls when they were born, and that one will be for Florence.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. All right.
So that's my get out of jail free. Yeah,
I'll back you up. All right. Now, Professor Damo and Professor Omar, you're actually smoking the proper cigar of the week. I'm going to come clean. I'm sure all of you were fooled. All of you thought that I had the cigar of the week. Didn't you? You were all fooled. Damo and Omar, what are your tasting notes now?
Really soft cinnamon. I'm actually going to say, because you know how there's two different types of cinnamon. There's like the real McCoy expensive cinnamon, and then there's the cheap Indonesian cinnamon, which is a lot more punchy and spicy. The cassia. This is cinnamon Vietnam, the proper Pakistani. Vernam, the Pakistan.
Sri Lankan Indian.
Sri Lanka, Pakistan cinnamon, yeah.
They're very harsh.
It's got that really lovely, subtle, musty softness to it.
Yeah.
None of you are paying attention. None of you are paying attention, but I blew an awesome ring while you were just rabbiting on about whatever the crap that was.
There's a bit of cinnamon in it. Ignore Topher, talking shit again. Bit of cinnamon, and it's still got some little bit muskiness and sweetness to it.
Daniel, if you blow one more ring, I'm taking you off this broadcast.
I didn't think you noticed.
I know, I noticed. I noticed everything, my friend. I do not tolerate competition. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
It just happens. I can't help it. It just comes out.
Well, that's even worse. Wow, Daniel. Can't take you anyway, can I? Can't even take you online. And you know how low the standards online are. Wow.
There's also there's almost a pastry note in there. That note that was milky, I think's gone sort of a bit buttery now. Sort of.
You reckon it's actually a thicker smoke?
I think so. It's definitely got a little bit of texture to it now, and it's still reminding me of some sort of sweet dessert of some descriptions. You know, something with flour and cream and butter and cinnamon and
pastry.
Well, I can tell you two things from my cigar. So this is the KO CAO, as some people call it, the KO Flathead Camshaft. I've not had the camshaft before, but the Flathead 554 is one of my all-time favorite cigars. And the Flathead 660 is one that I've had a lot of. It's not my all-time favorite, but it's a good cigar. So I know the KO brand. I know what they do. I'm going to tell you two things about this. Number one, the KO flathead camshaft, good stick. Number 2, my local brick and mortar tobacconist that I went to in desperation because I needed to have something to smoke tonight actually must be doing something right, because I reckon this has been kept pretty well.
Okay.
I reckon this is pretty good.
That's
I reckon
good to
I got
know.
lucky. Yeah.
You won't get that from the ones up here.
No, I rolled the dice. It was a gamble. I'll admit I wasn't sure. I was spending $70. $70
Ooh.
on a pure gamble, and it could have been an absolute dog. But you know what? It's not as good as when Damo keeps them. Like that's next level. That's next level. But this
What about your sparkles?
Hey?
What about your sparkles?
No, there's no sparkles on this. Way too new. I reckon these guys, the reason why this is okay, I reckon these guys must have a bit of turnover in their cigars. When I asked them about cigars, they were pretty well set up for it. They had the cabinet. She knew what was in there, all that sort of stuff. I reckon they must have a decent turnover in cigars, and I reckon that's why this one's all right.
Yep.
I got one from the brick and mortar up here when I was out a while back, and it was horrible. It was like dried, it flaked, it fell apart, it tore.
What happened?
And that was only...
Had you lost the will to live? Like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. I was probably, must have been in a pretty bad place. I actually had a humidor full at home, but I was out doing a job for NDIS, and so we were out at a market all day. And it was about lunchtime. I had about an hour or so off, and I'm like, to do nothing. And I'm like, well, I can't get home. So we were in Wodonga, and I didn't have time to drive home and back and have a cigar. So,
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Omar's questioning that statement because he thinks if you're driving anywhere, you've always got time for a cigar.
Yeah. Omar thinks that your car will not start unless you have a lit cigar in your mouth.
That's right. That's right.
Right. It's a safety feature, right?
Yes.
You know how cigars put you in a better frame of mind, right? It's a safety feature.
Definitely.
You can't drive when you're angry.
Probably got that alarm. You know that alarm when you don't put the seatbelt on? He's probably got one. It's
That's
like
it. That's the one.
Lit up the cigar.
That's the one. Totally.
This is burning very slow, I think, for such a small stick.
It actually is. I've got a Maduro here, and it's burning slightly faster, and I don't think I'm over smoking it.
That's unusual.
Yeah. Now, I've got to say, this is good. I'm enjoying the camshaft from KO, but your Undercrown Shade Connecticut Corona Pequena is looking pretty good too.
Pretty good. It's a pretty good smoke.
Daniel and Stu, do you both have the Undercrowns today?
yes, I do. I don't usually smoke my pack ones. I've been ordering some extras, so I've been smoking nasty fritters lately. I've had about 3 this week, so before this one.
You can't go wrong with the nasty fritters.
No, I was actually sitting on my couch with the shed door open the other day, watching the storm roll in, smoking the nasty fritters with a couple of cans, and it was nice.
I tell you what, if I end up with the house that I think I'm going to end up with in Albury, then when there's a storm coming, you're going to have to come to my place, because we're looking east towards the sunrise. But as a storm rolls in, it'll come over the top of us and straight over the top of Albury.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I reckon it'd be a great view to have a cigar to when there's a storm.
You're going to get some of those deep leather chairs with the armrests, and I don't know what they call it. It's got all those pressed in buttons on it.
Oh, the old man chairs.
Brown, like a reddy brown color.
100%. 100%.
Sounds like my wild track.
and a nice little table between them with the ashtray and the bits and pieces on it.
Stop trying to make it romantic, Damo. It's just 2 blokes having a cigar, okay? Settle down.
When are you moving in?
Oh, look, it's hard to say. There's some negotiation that's got to happen on the house, and maybe that house will fall through. I'm not saying that house is a definite. It's the one we're going for, but it might fall through, and then we're back to square one. We're negotiating on some other house, and I don't even know which house that would be. So my hope is, or not my hope, the schedule that I have set for myself is that the first broadcast from this new social media platform, the name of which I cannot release publicly yet, but it will become public in due course, is going to happen on the 1st of April. No, sorry, the 2nd of April, because the 1st of April, I'm at Whiskey Pete's wedding in Corowa.
Oh, you're going to be there too?
I'll be there. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So Whiskey Pete, for those that have been following the show, Whiskey Pete comes on from time to time. He has a brain for cigars and whiskey like no one else that I've ever met. He's a friend of the show. He comes on the show. He's getting married on the 1st of April in Corowa. Come on down, everybody. Come one, come all. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is because then we would really have a problem. But I'll be there. Damo, you'll be there. Omar, I'm sure you weren't invited for good reason.
I thought he invited me.
Nah, Stu. Sorry. No, but
you can be my +1, Omar.
It's a
Unbelievable.
day.
2nd of April, we're hoping to be the launch of this new platform. And we're not looking to compete. Like, there's other really great platforms out there. There's Rebel News. There's The Good Source. There's, there's a handful of others that are doing really, really, really good work. Former MP George Christensen with Nation First, etc. And what we're actually building is a collaborative model where we work with them rather than against them. We give them a platform. We bring them onto our platform. They can push their own platform. They can talk about who they are and where they're from and how people can follow them. We're trying to create a really collaborative model where we can all work together. So that's the aim. That's what we're doing. And look, all going well, we'll be launching on the 2nd of April. And that means I need to be in Albury by March. So we'll see, because that's not very long. It's only 2 months away.
I got somewhere to crash when I come down.
I can't promise you it'll be comfortable, and
no, look, it can't be any worse than sleeping on a stretcher in 40-degree heat in the Northern Territory.
You already had somewhere to crash when you came here.
That's right, Daniel. That's right. But listen, I accept.
I keep thinking Melbourne with you.
No. Daniel's in Albury. But here's the difference. I accept my Airbnb fees in cigars.
Right. I'm sure Daniel does too.
No. Look, no. I've heard he's a bit of a stickler. He wants his cash. Look, I'm not saying. I've just heard. I've just heard. All right.
I don't know where you're hearing that from, Topher. I'd only spend the cash on cigars anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want you to do. That's what I need you to do. So you keep earning the cash, I'll earn the cigars, and then we'll all be happy.
Well, yeah. We were going to talk about the next pack.
Are you going to be on land?
Sorry, Stu?
Are you going to be on land when you go out there, or is it going to be in town?
I reckon to start with, it'll be in town. The first place we move to will be in town. I'm trying to convince the missus that we should be on land. But I'm losing. That's a losing battle at the moment. So we'll get to Albury. We'll spend a couple of years in town. We'll embed ourselves in the community, get to know people, and then hopefully we're going to move on to some land out towards Lake Hume.
Yeah, there's actually some really good land up Jinder away too.
I know, Daniel. I know, but
it's only 10 minutes from here.
I know. This is the conversation. Sorry, Damo, I know you want to talk about the next pack, but I'm having this conversation with my wife right now. We drive, I'm not making this up. We drive 13 minutes to get to where we have coffee in the morning here in Melbourne. Okay, we drive for 13 minutes to get to a decent coffee shop because all the ones closer than that are rubbish.
Might as well be in King Lake.
But she won't live 15 minutes out of Albury. It's too far. No, it's too far. We can't live that far out of Albury. Come on.
Is the internet any good 15 minutes out of Albury, though?
It actually is, yeah. Good broadband. And you've also got, these days, you've got Starlink as well.
Yes. Starlink's apparently better up there than it is in the city.
It's the more remote you get, the better Starlink gets. As long as you've got their service, the fewer people that are using it, the better your performance is going to be.
Yeah, my brother's friend got it in Gunnedah, and he said it's unreal.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Now, we do have some business to attend to. So, Stu and Daniel, I'll just ask you guys just to take a back seat for a second. Professor Damo, you're absolutely right. We did say that we were going to talk about Pack 10 tonight.
We were.
So, what have we got in Pack 10?
The bad news is The supplier still hasn't got back to me.
Oh, really?
No, he only got back to work yesterday, and I've left a message for him to get back to me. But I think
And you're not the number one person on his list? Come on, Damo.
Well, when I start waving around big numbers at him, yes, but
like 20 cigars. Come on, man. How many? Like,
but
shameful.
Anyway, so my thoughts, and we've never really done this before, so I thought,
well, you know what,
be a bit of a behind the scenes insight into.
Yeah, please do. I was just going to say, please give people an insight into the reasoning behind where we've ended up, because most people may not even be aware of the decision that we've made.
Yeah.
So you might actually need to tell them what it is that Pack 10 is going to be.
Yep. Okay. So the one thing that I've been trying to put in one of our packs for quite a while now is the Romeo and Julieta Wide Churchill, the Cuban one, because Topher's favorite. Omar loves them. Dead set. The best cigar I think I've ever had in my life has been one of those that I'd aged for a couple of years.
Yep.
100%. And so it's like, that's the cigar I want to put in the pack. And we did the Cuban pack, and we decided we don't want to go down a whole Cuban pack again. But then I thought, we're reinventing how we're doing the packs now. So instead of doing a 13-stick pack, we're going to move to a 3-stick pack and do 1 pack a quarter. So we're going to move the show to one night of the month, because Topher's commitments with his new work and my work is actually just slowly starting to pick up again. So
Omar's got no work as always, so it doesn't really it's not.
Well, he can do the other 3 weeks of bring your own. So I thought, well, if we're going to go for 3 sticks, I didn't really want to do another 13 sticks of Cuban, but if we're only going to do a 3-stick pack, I thought, well, why not we go down the path of doing an all Cuban pack again? Because I'd be happy to take the gamble on 3 Cubans. Yeah. And so what I'm looking at doing is putting 3 Romeo and Julieta Cubans in the 1 pack.
Ooh.
So I want to get the Wide Churchill, and I'm looking at getting 2 of the other Romeo and Julietas, so we can do a bit of a comparison across the actual individual range, because when we did the Cuban pack, we looked broadly across all the different brands.
Sure.
This time we might focus in on one brand and actually go through 3 of the sticks.
Yeah, I like it.
So
I like it.
There is stock coming in. The only question is when the shipping container arrives. So if the shipping container is not going to arrive in time for this pack or the next pack, I'm going to have to make an alternate plan B, and then we might follow on the following packers doing the 3-stick Cuban pack.
I'm just going to use my Jedi powers here and read your mind through the internet. That's how good my Jedi powers are. I'm going to read your mind, Professor Damo, through the internet. Nothing to do with the shirt that you're wearing. And I'm going to say that if the all Cuban pack falls through, that there's going to be a Perdomo.
More than likely there will be.
Yes, Jedi powers for the win.
You know what? I could do an all Perdomo pack.
You could. Honestly, Perdomo are good enough. I would back you.
I could do an all Perdomo pack.
I would back you.
Damo's dream pack.
That's right. That's right.
10th anniversary.
Then we'd have to have an all Placencia pack for Omar, and then like an all Wee Willems pack for me. Like it'd be beautiful.
Or KO. We'll do the 554, the 660, and one other.
and the camshaft. Yep.
Oh, what about an Ave Maria pack?
Ooh, see, that would actually work. Unlike some of the other ones we just mentioned, an Ave Maria pack would actually work because they do a good breadth of product. That would actually work.
I really do like the Reconquista. Unfortunately, they only make that in 1 vitola, which is massive.
Yeah,
which is a shame, because that is such a beautiful Maduro blend. It is so sweet and so musty, and All
right, so probably the bombshell that we need to just emphasize here for everyone watching and everyone that watches the replay is we're at the end of this pack, we're ceasing the weekly shows, and that's just an unfortunate reality of we started this during lockdowns. We started this as something to give people something to look forward to, ourselves as much as anyone else, but then everyone else that wanted to join us, something to look forward to every single week. because during lockdowns, especially for me as a Victorian, life kind of sucked. But we've kind of come out of the lockdowns. We are able to get on with life. We are able to get busy again. Professor Damo's getting busy. Professor Omar's getting busy. I'm getting busy. So we are moving at the end of this pack, which is 6 weeks away. Excuse me. So by around about the end of February, we're going to be moving to a monthly group hearth rather than weekly. Now, what that means is that the packs that you get through us are going to be 3 cigars, 1 for each month. So it's still 1 quarter, but instead of 13 cigars, 1 for each week, it's 3 cigars, 1 for each month. It's going to cost a lot less. Obviously, the price is going to drop substantially, but also, Damo, and I know this excites you, what we're able to do now, because we're not smoking as many cigars, is we're able to focus on the really good cigars. We don't have to. I know part of the challenge for you, Damo, and people don't appreciate this. We talk about it all the time, but I don't think anyone, probably me included, and I'm right there sort of alongside you watching you do it, but I don't think anyone, me included, really understands how much work you had to put in to trying to get great cigars that met the budget. Right? You were always having to find 1 or 2 cigars every pack that was smaller, that didn't have the tax, that you could sort of sneak into the pack to try and make it possible for you to have the really amazing cigars that cost a lot more. Whereas now we're shifting gears a little bit, and your focus now is shifted to 3 fantastic cigars every single pack.
And we'll be able to do some of the bigger sticks in the pack. So my plan moving forward is that we will have different sizes in there.
Yeah.
But we're trying to squeeze 13 sticks in, and the amount of tax and cost involved in doing that, never been able to put big sticks in there, anything much bigger than a Robusto.
Yeah.
And so this way I'm hoping we're able to put some Toros and Churchills in packs moving forward from this point forward.
Yeah. Well, even something like a Romeo and Juliet White Churchill, I know because there's a brick and mortar in the city, 45 Ks away from me. I live out of town, but in Melbourne, probably it would be my go-to. If I was going to a brick and mortar, this would be the place that I would want to go to, because they do look after their cigars really well. But I know if I walk in there and buy a White Churchill, I'm paying the better part of $100.
Yep.
Right. And for you to be able to put a White Churchill and then 2 other Romeo and Juliets, to be confirmed. I know what you want to put in there. We've talked about this off air, but it comes down to supply and what's available and all the rest of it. But to have a White Churchill and then 2 more cigars for under $200 delivered, right?
Well, the container with those cigars in has been packed and has, the last I heard, which was just before Christmas, it was either on the ship or on the docks waiting to go on the ship.
Yeah.
So the question is it on a ship, and which ship it's on, and how long before that ship gets here? And then also how long before it clears customs and goes through all the bureaucracy of getting in here?
And to be clear, when it comes to Cubans, like when it comes to non-Cubans, we import them ourselves. Oh, no, sorry, not we. Damo imports them, deals with all of the logistics, all of the paperwork, all of the tax, all of the crap. When it comes to Cubans, because it's a government-controlled enterprise, there is an Australasian importer who actually happens to be in Sydney, not that far from where Damo is, and Damo knows who he is in person. We've got that personal relationship in place. So that's great. We've got a personal relationship with a Cuban importer. The downside is that we don't have control over what he chooses to import. So there's that little downside, right? Hence why
and his biggest market is actually Asia. So
that's
Singapore,
right.
Hong Kong, China,
100%.
Those countries buy like probably 20 times, 30 times more cigars easily than what the Australian market is doing. So, and that's the other thing too. Like what actually happens is, and I'm not 100% certain unless he hasn't told me, but I do believe that he actually has warehousing for cigars in Asia.
Yep.
The containers go there, get broken down. So then obviously all the stuff going to the Asian countries isn't taxed.
Yep.
And then from there it comes into Australia, and only what he's, the amount of money that he's got available to pay the government comes into Australia pretty much.
That's exactly it. I mean, why would you bring into Australia any more than what you thought you were going to sell in Australia? So we are a little bit, when it comes to a Cuban pack, even though it's only 3 different cigars, we are a little bit at the mercy of the importer, but We know him. He's a friend. He's a friend of Damo's, and we know that we're going to get 3 really good Romeo and Juliet cigars to include in the next pack for us to smoke once a month, including, and Omar, correct me if I'm wrong, the Romeo and Juliet White Churchill is one of your favorites as well. A good one, to be clear, a good one.
Yeah. I think what originally Demo and I were talking about a while ago, I said you could probably do a short Churchill, Wild Churchill, and a Churchill. So that kind of balances out. I think that would probably be a really good option. But
that'd be the ideal scenario.
The only question I thought about, old mate, was that if the shipment comes in, I think it needs at least a few weeks before you want to, in a good place with Demo, before you want to roll them out.
But I think we'll have that if the shipment arrives on schedule, or even a few weeks after schedule. We're still going to have a few weeks in Damo's tender loving care just to acclimatize them and get them right before they go out to subscribers. So I'd be pretty confident that we'd be on a pretty good wicket there.
Yeah.
Flavor notes, boys. You look like you're halfway through.
Icing sugar on mine at the moment.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of nuttiness in it too.
I think Stu let his go out.
Huh?
I think Stuart let his go out. There's nothing. He's hardly touched it.
Oh, it's really late.
Sorry, Daniel, are you feeling threatened by someone who can smoke even slower than you?
No, I think I've been watching Omar too much.
Yeah, you've been powering through yours. Now, listen, Daniel, don't let this go to your head, okay? I want you to be able to walk in.
Just flat out, so I need to ash it.
I want you to be able to walk inside without having to replace the door with the bigger door, okay? So don't let this go to your head. Out. But if your comments in the past are anything to go by, you've got a pretty good palate. What are you getting flavor-wise from that cigar now? You're just heading into the final third.
Yeah.
Stop blowing rings!
I'm still definitely getting cinnamons and sort of flaky patient notes. The cinnamon's picked up a bit though.
Almost reminds me of like a sticky bun.
Yeah, it's almost like a coconut cream note in it too. Like, don't know if you ever had the coconut cream and you sort of put that in the cooking, but
so Boston bun.
Boston bun, okay. You're all wrong. It's earth tones with a bit of leather. And that's it's a mid-tone to dark kind of burnt molasses is still there. There's still some sweetness in the burnt molasses, but there's earth tones and leather. That's what this cigar is. Absolutely.
I haven't got my new wheel with me. I've got lots of lovely toys now. I've got me glue.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Which I needed, not today.
Yep.
And I've got my
your perfect draw.
Which I needed last week.
Yes, I must get myself one of those.
Yeah, it's a must-have. It really is. It's a must-have.
It is.
And to be honest,
especially if you go to Cubans.
When Damo first introduced me to the glue, I went, you know what? Seriously, how often am I going to need that? But it's surprising when you have it. It's surprising how often you reach for it.
Yeah.
Probably every fifth cigar that I have, I'm reaching for the glue.
Yeah, I've gone through. I got a glue with my first pack, which was pack 7, and I've got an extra glue that came with another pack, and I've gone through my first one.
Yeah, wow, you've used it already. Stu, sorry.
Some of it spilt though.
Stu,
someone knocked it over on the table.
What were you going to say?
I opened mine almost as immediately. One of the cigars I've got has got. You can almost use it as a ring. It's got that big turned piece of aluminium or something on it.
Yeah. Yep.
And in the traffic and stuff, it's obviously jiggled around a little bit. So the first thing I did is take that off and just touch up a couple of little bits that it did on there.
Look, I can't remember the name of them. Damo, Omar, help me out. Macanudos, that's the ones. I've got some sitting around.
I think that could be it. Big one.
It presents brilliantly. It looks amazing. But actually, I've kind of gone off the idea as time has gone by. If you're an American and you're never going to smoke past the ring, it's fine. But if you're an Australian and you're going to take that ring off, it tears that wrapper so frequently, probably half the time. It puts a hole in that wrapper and you've got to touch it up. Yeah, the Mac.
I've had two of them, and both of them I had to touch it up when that ring came off.
Yeah, 100%.
So when they're in the box that they come in, there's actually like a little felt-lined plastic molded tray that they sit in, and it holds the cigar and the ring in position. And there's 4 in a tray, and there's 3 trays deep, so there's 12 in a box.
Yeah. Okay.
And that, if they're kept in the box, it's not so much of a problem. And they've actually got, on top of each layer, they also put a sheet of spongy foam material as well to cushion it all in.
Yeah.
And so look, if they're kept in the box, I don't think it's as big an issue.
You know, the people that make these cigars are very intelligent people. I'm sure if it was kept in the same exact humidity as where they were made, it wouldn't be an issue. But as you ship them around the world and they go up in an airplane and come down and the humidity changes, that's where you end up with the issue. And you end up with that bit of binding on the inside of that aluminium. And it looks amazing, but it's unfortunate.
The one I had a little bit of like fabric or something on the inside of the ring, and it just sort of stuck to it.
I know exactly what you mean. Yep, I've had the exact same thing. Now, Stephen, I'm not sure if I've seen your name before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you might be new to the Cigar Professor. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And you obviously know your cigars. Absolutely. We're talking about the Macanudo Vintage. We've had them in a couple of cigar packs now. We've got them in stock. We can supply them. So, Stephen, welcome to the Cigar Professor if this is your first time.
Oh. There's a little hint of cayenne on the finish. Very subtle. And a little bit of a celery note in there as well. A little bit of a very faint, faint, but it's there.
Look, it's a great cigar. I think Stu's winning at the moment in terms of the slow smoking championships. But to be fair, I think he lit up a little bit after the rest of you as well. So he had a bit of an edge there.
Now I'm getting signal breaking up. Are you guys as well, or is it me?
No, I think it's just you, mate. I'm
good.
Pretty solid from where I'm sitting. Chris, look, we hope so. The weekly smoke made sense for the time, and it made sense when we launched the Cigar Professor. But times change, life changes. It's actually a good thing. People are busy. We've moved to the Wednesday nights because people have booked up their Friday nights. And we'll probably move monthly and just make it a bit more of a special event. I'm going to get off my lazy ass and actually make the bingo happen. We've been talking about Cigar Professor Bingo for a very long time, and I reckon if we move to monthly, there's an opportunity there to actually just, put a bit more effort in. And I include myself. I'm not saying anything about Omar, and certainly nothing about Damo. He puts in way more effort than I do. But I reckon there's a chance to put a bit of effort in and to make each of those months a little bit special. So I think it's actually going to be really good fun.
Some brew coffee for prizes.
Some brew coffee, absolutely. Oh, we've just lost the signal from Daniel. What a shame. Oh well.
He'll be all right.
We'll have to enjoy some time without someone else blowing rings. I just, what a crying shame,
It's a pity they're not making those Macanudo vintage 1997s anymore because the Maduros were definitely a favourite of mine.
They're a good stick. Probably not quite as good as a good KO Maduro, but KO Flathead 554 probably give it a run for its money. Just saying, no reason.
It would be interesting to try also some of the other Unico series Maduros other than the Nasty Fritters. They do a few other colas in
I'd be willing to have a crack at anything else that they make, because that nasty fritas is, and I've had something else from theirs. I can't remember what it was.
Well, we've got a collab in this pack, which
Right.
is the Crazy Alice,
Right.
which was actually a collab between Deadwood Tobacco from Deadwood, South Dakota. They've actually basically taken that same stick and put their twist on it and had it contract manufactured. So we've got that in the pack as well to experiment and try and see whether someone else's take on the same stick is.
So the same idea. Is it that
Same idea.
Is it the same pyramid kind of vitola?
Yep.
Interesting. Closed foot?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. Okay. Have to wait and see what that does. I can't imagine anything quite being as special as a nasty fritas, but then again, you never know.
Well, they're definitely one of the cigars in my collection that does dwindle in number. There's not many in my collection that dwindle in number, but that's one of them.
They mysteriously disappear, go up in smoke somehow.
They do.
Well, you look like you're getting down to the business end there, Damo. Omar, where are you at?
I got a little bit left.
Okay.
I was doing a little slow. Ran off at me.
Now,
He's been
I mean,
smoking another cigar.
That makes you look good because you've got a half a cigar left, but I expect you've probably been smoking 2 or 3 cigars at once over the course of this episode. So let's be honest here. You've probably smoked 3 cigars in the time that Damo smoked 1.
No comment.
Of course not.
Great smoke production for such a small stick as well.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Very good
amazing.
smoke production.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
It is just a shame that I smoked mine when I was supposed to be smoking a nub Connecticut. That's always a bit of a shame, but you know, it happens. Listen, when you're 3 wine bottles in out of a 4 wine bottle night, these things happen.
Yeah, of course.
Stu, you're doing some touching up there.
I had to ash it, stoke it, and relight.
It happens. It happens. Look, we talk a lot about this on the Cigar Professor, that it's better to have to relight than to smoke too fast.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to pick one, pick the smoking too slow. That's the one that you want to pick, because then you're going to get the better flavors.
Certainly.
Yep.
What lighter do you use there, Stu?
So I got a Mark Twain. Sorry?
What lighter have you got there?
I got my rocket.
Yeah, it looked good. Looked good. So that's a single jet?
That's a single jet.
Wow.
You've actually used it.
That's a beast of a thing. I like that.
It is a beastie.
Yeah.
And I've got a backup, which has got almost as little gas in it. So it's a little...
Yep. Hey, yep. If it works, it works. Yep, there you go.
Little twin burner.
Twin flame, yep.
Which is near on useless. This one's better.
I got to be honest, I stumped up the cash for the Perdomo cutter and lighter, and this thing has just given me so much trouble. It's working now. Of course it's working now. Little triple jet, but it's given me so much trouble. I've gone back to
You
the Cigar
say that
Professor.
every show it works fine.
It does. I know. It's trying to just take the piss out of me. The Cigar Professor lighters work really well. The little twin flame ones where you got the
they're the best.
or the soft flame. Well, listen, I'm not going to be that prejudiced to say they're the best. They're our lighters. Of course, I think they're good. But I'm going to give a shout out once again to Tommy. Tommy was a supporter of the show right back in pack 1, pack 2. And just for economic reasons, he wasn't able to keep subscribing. But if you look for these on Amazon, you'll find them, the Tommy lighter. And honestly, what is it now? Over 2 years, and this thing is still freaking bulletproof. Yeah. I've got it set to the single jet. You can set it between single and double. And I've never had a problem with this thing. It's just such a good lighter.
It's in my I got a little travel kit, and I travel with a cutter and a couple of lighters, and that's one of the two I travel with.
Yeah, it's one of the
great lighter. I know it's always going to perform.
Yep, they're good. You know, Tommy, they're called the Tommy gun. Look up Tommy cigar lighter on Amazon. There's no relationship there. We're not getting a kickback. I'm just telling you because this is honestly one of the most reliable lighters that I've ever got my hands on. It's a guy in South Australia. His name's Tom, hence the Tommy gun name. And what he did, he said to me, and I didn't believe him at the time, but I do now. He said to me, I've done so much research. I've brought over so many samples from China. I've just tried lighter after lighter after lighter to find the one that's just going to work and keep working. And I was like, yeah, whatever, right? Okay, marketing guff. And you know what? Having used this for 2 years, I believe him. Tommy gun, Amazon, look it up. About $35, I think. But honestly, best money I've spent. Speaking
I'm starting
of,
to get quite hot now.
well, you're right down to the nub. Right down to the nub. Do we let Daniel back on, or do we let him just suffer with like his Albury internet? You know.
Well, if he blows a couple of rings, you can let him back on.
You can't complain. You'll have Albury soon.
I will have Albury internet. Oh, I might have Starlink internet. You never know. I might just bypass the whole thing. All right, listen. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to let him back on. Daniel, how are you?
Yeah, my phone overheated and just shut down.
And it looks like Daniel.
Must be an Apple phone.
No, it's not. It's an
shut up. Shut up. It's an Apple phone.
I wouldn't have that crap.
He says as his phone overheats. Yeah, fair enough.
Have you guys had the Mark Twain? It looks really good. I'm pretty keen to have that.
I adore
the riverboat.
I've got to admit that the reviews were mixed. Not everyone loved it. I thought it was an absolute ripper of a stick. Damo, Omar, I think both of you were a bit more like
it was all right, but it didn't really do it for us. It was a nice stick, but we thought that some of the other sticks in the pack were better.
Yeah, don't listen to them. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I bought more.
Yeah, right. Definitely looks the show, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what's called a barber pole, where you've got two different colors or two different types of tobacco in the wrapper, kind of twisted around in sort of that barber pole.
I want a quadruple barber pole. I want Candela, Connecticut, Sun-Grown, and Maduro all in the one stick.
You're just impossible, Damo. You're impossible. You're impossible to please.
Well, if you go to the cigar factory in New Orleans, I'm pretty sure you can order it and I'll make it for you while you're there.
There you go. I dread to think what you pay for it. You probably pay almost Australian prices for it.
It's just down from the market.
I'm looking forward to smoking that Southern Draw with the two different wrappers on it.
Yeah, that'll be.
I got that one specifically to see what a different company's take on a barber pole was like. Yeah. So it's one of the things I like to do in these packs is to, this is one company's take on this design. Let's see what another company does with the same concept and what their take on it. It's like cooking, really, isn't it? Like so many different styles of pavlova, so many different styles of steak or whatever you might do, and cigars are the same. Every manufacturer has their own take and brings out their own uniqueness in it.
Spot on. It's the people. I talk to a lot of people about cigars because I love them. They're kind of my one big thing, and a lot of people don't get it until I say, look, it's like wine. You find a vineyard or you find a vitier that you really like what they do and how they approach wine. And you're probably going to like most of what they do. You're not going to like every single one, but you're going to like most of what they do. It's the same with cigars. You find a brand or a blender who just makes cigars that are to your taste, or a style of cigar that just works for you, and just explore it. Just, smoke more of them and see what's out there.
I'm getting very hot. I can barely hold it now.
You are at the serious end, my friend. How have you gone through that so fast?
I've just been enjoying it. But
he hasn't been talking.
That is an ash. That is an ash.
Look, Damo, I very rarely give up the ash challenge easily, but you have without question won the ash challenge today. That is a serious ash. Omar can't compete. I can't.
That's photo worthy. This one.
Take a photo.
Not even I can.
We'll put it up on the Cigar Professor page. Show people what an ash looks like when you do it right. Now, Stephen's got a tip for us here. Alec Bradley's Filthy Hooligan. Sorry. Alec Bradley's Filthy Hooligan. That's a tongue twister, actually. I didn't expect that. Has 3 wrapper colors. We've enjoyed a couple of Alec Bradleys over the journey. We've had at least one, I think possibly 2 different Alec Bradleys in our packs over the journey so far. So that might be one to look into in future. You just burnt yourself, did you, Damo?
I'm definitely done. I can't get any more out of that without some sort of medical emergency. So
you haven't got a pipe handy?
Not small enough for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Same with my pipe. It wouldn't be small enough. Omar, you've got some journey left in this cigar, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit.
I think we're about the same, Omar.
Yeah, doing it real slow.
Well, Damo, I think you got about 55 minutes.
And it's listed as a 40 to 50 minute stick. So
yeah, I think you got about 55 out of that. So that's pretty good. All the way down to the nub.
An hour out of that.
So I couldn't help but open up my new collection of cigars and start going through them. And I was gently pulling them out of the cellophane and the stained cellophane. And now that I know to look for all these little pretty sparkles, quite a few of them have got sparkles, even if it's just a couple. So
yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
Cool.
That's good. That's just testimony to Professor Damo. Once again, that's Damo's tender loving care that does that. Trust me, if they were in Omar's care, they would never get old enough.
I was going to say, yeah, it's smoking by now.
There we go.
If they were in Omar's care, they'd look like that.
They'd be smoked well and truly. Well, look, I've probably smoked this a little bit faster than what it's meant to be smoked, to be quite honest. But I've enjoyed this, the Flathead Camshaft by KO. I am a bit of a KO fan, to be honest, and because they're such a bold flavor profile, they don't really find a place in the Cigar Professor packs, unfortunately. So this week has actually been a bit of a treat for me, where I've managed to get my hands on one, and in the process discover that one of my local brick and mortars might be all right. There you go. Who knew?
Well, right at the end, it was still sweet. Still had that icing sugar sweetness to it, though. Little bit nutty, sort of flaked almond sort of note to it.
Daniel, I can see you still trying to blow rings. Stop it. Still trying. I mean, you failed. You failed miserably. Stop trying.
Daniel's not trying.
Yes, he is. He's doing like a separate little puff, like a puff, 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 puff. He's just trying to get a ring. Oh, stop it.
What do you think I do when I sit in my chair with my vape? I just sit there and go pop, 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 just for fun.
Yeah, but the vape's different because it comes from the lungs.
Yeah, but you don't shoot the ring from the lungs. It's from the
lockjaw.
It's the air. It's the air from the back of the throat.
All right. Look, I did, as I was starting to play with blowing rings every once in a while. I'm not consistent. I'm not very good at it. I actually went on YouTube and I looked up how do you blow smoke rings, and it was all about vapes and doing it. Oh, stop it! You're pissing me off. I'm going to take you out of the show soon. It was all about how to do it from the lungs. I'm like, no, I'm not inhaling this smoke. It's just in the mouth. I want to know how to do it from there, but there's nothing. I couldn't find anything online.
My phone's about to die, so I'm probably going to be out in a minute anyway.
Oh, thank God for that.
Running out of cigar. So.
Well, next week we've got the Deadwood Estate, Drew Estate Deadwood Tobacco Collaborative Crazy Alice, which is the little take on the Nasty Fritters. So
that'll be interesting.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Interesting little cigar case they're coming to as well. I'll have to bring one down. They're sort of, instead of being a square case, the case is actually shaped so that when they're they're all lined up in that shape, and
in that pyramid sort of shape. Yeah, okay, interesting. Well, I look forward to seeing that next week. Look, in all fairness, Professor Damo has finished, and let's be honest, he carries the whole show. He's the one with the taste buds. I'm not even smoking the same cigar this week. Omar, well, he's our just token black guy. So what does he know? So at this point, we're probably going to call it a show, an hour and 10 minutes in. But this has been a beautiful cigar, even if I'm smoking a different one. It has still been a beautiful cigar. And we'll see you next week to do a comparison between the Nasty Fritas and the Crazy Alice. That will be interesting. We'll see you all again next week.
Thanks, Ab.